178.74 approval MEGC application design type approval. Each MEGC design type must have design approval certification. Owner manufacturer must apply with the approval agency with disapprove of the associated administrative in accordance with subpart E part 107 of the chapter plus to obtain approval of the design new design with a series of the MEGC manufacturer without the chain of design certificate. Valid for the entire series of design. Approval certificate must refer to the prototype test report material for the construction manifold with the same of the pressure receptacles and made an approval of the numbers complying with the requirements of the test methods of Apple MEGCs. Specified in this part may vary with level of safety determined to equivalent to the state requirements subchapter is an approved with rating and associated administrative design approval may serve with the approval of the small of the MEGC made of the material of the same type thickness with the same fabrication techniques with identical support equivalent enclosures or other appurtenances. Each application of the design approval that must engage English contain the following information: 2 complete copies of the engineer drawing calculation test data necessary to ensure that the design meets the relevant specifications. Manufacturer serial number that will be assigned to MEGC. Statement with whether the design type of the has been examined at any of the approval agency previously judged. An unacceptable affirmative statement must be documented with the name of the approval agency, reason for the non-acceptable nature of the modification made to the design type. Actions by the approval agency. With the approval agency must review the application design type of the approval to include all the drawing calculations, ensure the design of the MEGC meet with all the requirements relevant in the specification, determine whether it is complete and conform to all the requirements of the section, and complete with the application will be returned to the application with a response with the reason why the application was returned. If the application is complete with all the requirements of the section are met, approval agency must prepare the MEGC design to approval the certificate with containing manufacturer name and address, result with the conclusion for the examination, necessary data for the identification design type, and an associated administrator approves. The design type of approval, the certificate application approval agency with the manufacturer must each of the maintain copy of the approval drawings, calculation test to have at least 20 years. The approval agency responsible. The approval agency responsible to ensure the MEGC conforms with the design type of approval. The approval agency must, within all types required for the approval of the MEGC specified with the section 178.75, ensure through the appropriate section of the MEGC fabricated in respect and conforms with all the approved drawings and calculation testing, determine and ensure that the MEGC is suitable that intended use for all the confirms the requirements of the subchapter. Apply its name and identify the mark with identifying the number of the date of the approval that was issued with the metal identification marking plate attached to the MEGC will successfully completion of all the requirements of subpart. Any approval of the associated administrator authorized design construction alternative arrangements of MEGC paragraph 8 section must be indicated with the metal identification plate specified 178.75J. Prepare approval certificate MEGC. In this case, the series of the identical MEGC manufacturer series signal design type of each of the series MEGC approval certificate must include the following information: the information design with the metal indication plate with required 178.75J. Resolve of the applicable framework test specified ISO 14963. The result of the initial inspection test specified in paragraph 8 of the section. Result of the impact test specified 178.7514. Certification documentation verifying the cylinder treatment conforming with the applicable standards, and statement of the approval of the agency certificate of the MEGC according with the procedure of the section with the MEGC suitable for the intended purpose of the requirements of the subchapter will then ensure the MEGC manufactured without the change but the design type of the certificate may valid entire series of the MEGC represented with a single design type of the approval of the number must consider the distinguishing sign of the mark of the country U.S. of the United States wherever the approval of the granted with the registration number. Retain a file with a copy of the approval of the certificate for each of at least 20 years. Manufacturer responsibility. The manufacturer responsible for the compliance with the applicable specification of the design construction of the MEG manufacturer MEGC must comply with all the requirements of the applicable ISO standards specified in 178.71. Obtain with the approval of the agency review the design construction certification MEGC. Provide a statement of the manufacturer data report. Certification MEGC. Manufacturer comply with the relevant specification and all applicable requirements of the subchapter. Retaining records of the MEGC at least 20 years required for the specification. Manufacturer must provide copies of the record for the approval of the agency owner and leaser for the MEGC to represent upon request. Denial application for the approval of the associated administrator found the MEGC not approved of any reason the associated administrator of the applicant writing provide reason with the denial of the manufacturer may request the associated administrator reconsideration decision. Application request must be written in English filed within 90 days of the receipt of the decision. State in detail alleged errors in fact and law. Enclosing additional information needed to support the request for the reconsider. Appeal manufacturer who the reconsideration request and denied may appeal with the PHMSA administrator. Appeal must be in writing with a file within 90 days of the receipt of Associated Administrative Decision Reconsideration. Still, in detail any alleged errors in fact of law, including any additional information needed to support the appeal within state. In detail, modifications to final decision shall the administrator will grant but deny the relief and inform the appealing writing of the decision and administrator of the decision final administrative action. Modification approve of the MEGC prior to the modification. Any approve of the MEGC with the effect of the form and safety you may have involved with the training of the design type of the effect of its ability to retain hazardous material and transportation from the MEGC owners must inform the applicable agency prepared with the initial approval of the certificate MEGC, or if the initial approval agency is unavailable, or another approval agency of the nature of the modification request certification modification, but the owner must supply with the approval agency all revised drawings, calculation test data relative to the intended modification. MEGC owners must also provide statements of whether the intended modification has been examined and determined the unacceptable by an approvable agency. The written statement must include the name of the approval agency for the reason of the non-acceptance for the date or change of the modification of the original rejection. The approval agencies must review the request for the documentation. Approval agency determines whether the proposed modification does not conform to the relevant specification. Approval agency must reject the request according to paragraph D of this section if the approval agency determines the proposed modification for the conforms fully with the relevant specification for the request is associated with the modification. Approval of the MEGC alters information. Approval of the certificate. Approval agency must prepare the new approval certificate for the modified MEGC. Submit with the certification associated administrator for approval. After receiving approval, the associated administrator of the approval agency must ensure that the necessary changes are made to the metal identification plate. A copy of each newly issued approval certificate must be retained in approval agency with the MEGC owner with at least 2 in a year. The approval agency must be pertaining to the following activities: retain salt of the approval of the reviews, drawings, calculation, data specified 178-69B4 for at least 20 years. Ensure through appropriate inspection tank of the modification conform with the revised drawing, calculation, testing data, determine the extent of which for the retesting modification MEGC necessary based on the nature of the proposed modification. Ensure that all the required tests are satisfactorily performed. Termination approval of certification administrative may terminate an approval issued under this section if he or she determines that because of the change, but if the circumstance for the approval no longer needed, no longer will be granted if implied for information upon which the approval was based on fraudulent substantial error and its termination approval of the necessary adequate protection agency of life or property. MEGCs do not meet the specification and before an approval is determined, the associated will provide person written notification of facts conducted believed to be warrant termination, opportunity to submit oral written evidence. An opportunity to demonstrate achieve the compliance with the applicable requirements and danger of the associated administrative determinants of the certificate approval that must be determined to preclude significant imminent adverse effect with the public safety. The associated administrator may terminate the certificate immediately and so serve and stand for the opportunity. The paragraph H2 through H3 may not to provide with the termination with approval of such must be with the provided as soon as practical thereafter. 178.75 Specification MEGCs. General MEGCs must meet the requirements of section in the MEGC meet the definition of the canyon with the term of the International Convention on the Safety of Containers must meet the requirements of the CSC and amended with the Title 49 Parts 450 through 453. Must have the CSC approval plate. Alternative arrangement, the techniques requirements applicable to the MEGC may be varied. Level of safety determined to be equivalent with the exceed the requirements of the subchapter. An alternative arrangement must be approved within writing with the associated administrator. MEGC to approve of the alternate arrangement must be marked with as required. Paragraph J of the section definition. The following definitions apply. Leak proofness of the means of the test using subject pressure receptacle of service equipment. MEGC is sufficient factor in internal pressure with not less than 20% of the test pressure manifold assembly with the piping valve connected to the fittings and or discharge opening with the pressure receptacle. Maximum permissible gross mass means of the heaviest loaded and authorized transport. Some of the tear of the major MEGC service equipment, the pressure receptacle service equipment, the means of manifold system measuring instrument piping safety devices. Shut off valve means for the valve that would stop the flow of the gas instructional equipment, mean with the reinforcement fastening protective of the stabilizer of the member of the external to the pressure receptacle. General design construction requirements. MEGC must be capacity with it being loaded with discharge without removal of the structural equipment. If the hosses possess a stabilization member external to the pressure receptacle to provide structural integrity with the handling and transport. MEGC design construction with the supports to provide secure base during transport with lifting and tie-down attachments to the adequate lifting of the MEGCs included with the load of the maximum permissible gross weight. The MEGCs must be designed to load with the transport vehicle and vessels equipped with the skids and mounting accessories to facilitate mechanical handling. MEGC must be designed and manufactured equipped to withstand without loss of the content, and all normal handling transportation condition of the design must take it in accordance with the effect of the dynamic loading of fatigue. Each pressure receptacle of the MEGC must be same design type with the same seamless seal and construction test according with one of the following ISO standards. ISO 98091 gas standard refill seamless seal gas cylinders design construction testing part 1 quench tempered steel cylinder tensile strength less than 1100 MPAs until December 31st, 2018. Manufactured cylinder and conformance requirements ISO 9809 1019 ISO 9809-2 gas cylinder refillable seamless steel gas cylinders design construction testing part 2 quench tempered steel cylinders tensile strength greater than 1100 MPAs until December 31st, 2018. Manufactured cylinder conformance requirements ISO 9809-2 2000 is authorized. ISO 9809 gas cylinders refillable seamless steel gas cylinders design construction testing part 3 nominal steel cylinders until December 31st, 2018. The manufacturer cylinders conform with the requirements of ISO 9809-3 2000 is authorized. ISO 9809-2014 gas cylinders refillable seamless steel gas cylinders design construction testing part 4 stainless steel cylinders with an RM value of less than 1 and 100 millipascals. ISO 11-1-200 gas cylinders refillable seamless steel water capacity with between 150 liters 3,000 liters. Design construction testing pressure receptacle MEGC fitting and pipe works must be constructed with a material that is compatible with the hazardous material and expended for the transport as specified in some chapter. Contact between the dissimilar metal that could result in the damage by galvanic action must be prevented by with the material of the MEGCs, including any device gasket of the accessory, may have no adverse effect with the edge gas intended for the transport MEGCs. MEGC must be designed to withstand without loss of content of the least of the internal pressure due to the content of the exact dynamic thermal load during the normal condition of the handling transport. With the design must take into account the effect of the fatigue caused by repeated application of these load through expected life of the MEGC. MEGC, the fastening must under the maximum permissible load that may become capable with the the following separately apply with the static force of the calculation purpose of acceleration due to gravity. And the direction travel to 2G MGM MPGM multiplied by the acceleration due to gravity horizontal right angle with the direction of the travel MPGM multiplied acceleration due to the gravity with the direction of the travel is not clearly determine the force of more than equal to twice the MPGM. Vertically upwards 1G with the MGP multiplied with acceleration due to gravity. Vertical downward 2G twice the maximum pressure gross crap, I forgot it. Total unloading including effect with gravity multiplied with the acceleration due to gravity under each of the forces applied specified in paragraph D8 of the section that stress for the most severely stressed at the point of the pressure receptacle not seen the values given in the Apple design specification ISO 11120 under each of the four specified in the paragraph D8 of the section of the safety of the factor of the framework fastening must have as follows. For steels have a clearly defined yield point and status C factor 1 and 5 is relevant to the guaranteed yield of strength. For the steels, no clearly defined yielded male point satisfactory of the 1.5 in relation with the guarded 2/10 of the percent of the proof strength with the authentic seal 1% proof strength. MEGC must be capable of being electrically grounded to prevent electrical discharge when intended for the flammable gas. Pressure receptacle of the MEGC must be secured in a manner to prevent movement that could result in the damage to structure with a concrete more harmful local stress. Service equipment must be arranged so that it is protected from the mechanical damage with external force of the during handle with the transportation of the connection between the frame and the pressure with the receptacle. All allow relative movement between the sub-assembly of the equipment must be fastened to allow the movement to prevent damage to any of the working part with the manifold discharge fitting of the pipe socket with the shut-off device. The shut-off valves must be protected from damage external forces. Manifold pipeline leading to shut-off valve that must be sufficiently flexed to prevent the valves from failing of shearing, relief of the pressure receptacle with contents filling in the discharge of devices including the flanges. Third plugs, any protective cap that must be capable of being secured against unintended opening. Excess each pressure for the reciprocal into the transportation 2-3 for the gases must be equipped with the individual shutoff valve. Manifold for the division 2-3 liquefied gas must either be designed that each of the pressure receptacle can be filled with a separate loop, be kept in the isolated with a valve capable of being closed during transit for the division 2. One gas of the pressure receptacle must be isolated with the individual shut-off valve into an assembly not more than 3,000 liters. The MEGC filling the discharge opening tube valve with the interior of the display for the inaccessible position on each of the discharge filling pipe with one of the valve may be the backflow prevent valve. The filling and discharge device may be equipped with a manifold for suction piping which can be closed at both ends, whereas liquid product can be trimmed and pressure relief valve must be provided to prevent excessive pressure buildup. The main isolation valves on the MEGCs must be clearly marked and indicate the direction of the closure. All shut-off valves must close with the bi-clockwise motion on the hand wheel. Each shut-off valve and the other mean of the closure must be designed with a stroke with withstanding the pressure equal to greater than 1.5 times the test pressure MEGCs. A shut-off valve with a screw with a spindle must be closed with the clockwise of the motion with the hand wheel. If there are other shut-off valves, the open and close out position of the direction closure must be clearly shown. All shut-off valves must be designed to prevent unintentional openings. Axial metals must be used in the construction of the valves or accessory. The piping must be designed and constructed and insulated with avoid damage due to the extension of the contraction. Mechanical shock with vibrations. One with the tubing must be braided and having an equal strength. The metal union, the metal point of the brazing material must be no later than 977 degrees Fahrenheit. Then rated. Pressure for the surface equipment of the manifold must not be less than the 2/3 of the test pressure of the pressure receptacle. Pressure relief device. Each of the pressure must be equipped with one or more pressure relief devices as specified in 173.301. After the subtrap of the pressure relief device is installed, each pressure receptacle group of the pressure receptacle of the MEGC then can be isolated. Must be equipped with one more of the pressure relief device. The pressure relief device must be the type of the will resist the dynamic force, including liquid surge, and must be designed to prevent entry of the foreign material leakage of gas and development any dangerous excessive pressure. The side of the pressure relief devices CGS11 must be used to determine the relief capacity of the individual pressure receptacles. Connection of the pressure relief devices. Connection pressure relief devices must be sustained sufficient inside of the enabled required discharge to pass unrestricted pressure relief device. The shut-off valve is installed between the pressure receptacle with the pressure receptacle device is prohibited except where the duplicate devices are provided with maintenance or other reasons. The shut-off valve serve the device they actually use it are locked open. The shut-off valve are interlocked so that at least one duplicate device is allowable, operable, capable of meeting the requirements of paragraph F1 of this section. No obstruction is permitted with the opening and leaving of the vent and pressure relief device that might restrict the cutout of the flow of the pressure receptacle of the device. Moving through all the pipe and fittings must have at least the same flow of the area of the inlet pressure relief devices to which is connected to the nominal side of the discharge pipe must be at least the large of the pressure relief device. Location of the pressure relief devices for liquid gas. Each of the pressure relief device must be under the maximum filling conditions and may communicate with vapor space over the pressure receptacle of the device. And when solid must be arranged to ensure the escape of the vapor that just show the upwards unrestricted to prevent the impingement of the escaping gas of the liquid. MEGC pressure over the receptacle personnel for flammable gas pyro for oxidizing gas of the escape. The gas must be directed away from the pressure receptacle in such a manner that it cannot impinge upon the other pressure receptacle. Heating resistant protective device that deflect flow of the gases or person will provide with the required pressure relief device capacity does not reduce. The arrangements must be made to prevent excess of the pressure relief device by unauthorized persons to protect the devices from damage by overall. Alright, gauging directive is when the MEGC is intended to fill by the mass, it must be equipped with one more gauging device. The gas last level gauges gauge the made other fragile material that are prohibited. The MEGC supporter frameworks lifting and tie-down attachment. MEGC must design and construct for the supporter structure to provide the separation during transportation. MEGC must be protected against the damage of the pressure receptacle of the surface equipment, resulting lateral and longitudinal impact overturned with the force specified in paragraph D8 with the section of the safety factors specified in paragraph D10. With the section must be considered within the aspect of the skids and framework carried for the other similar pressure structures are acceptable. If the pressure receptacle of the surface equipment are also constructed with the withstand impact overturning, inertial protective support of the structure is not required. Paragraph H4 of the section. Combined stress of the pressure receptacle mounting of the EG cradle frameworks as such for the MEGC lifting tie-down attachments must be not accepted for the strength and any pressure receptacles. Permanent lifting devices tie-down attachments must be equipped with the MEGC and welding over the mounting of the attachments onto the pressure receptacles prohibited. The effect of the environmental conformity and erosion must be taken into account with the design supports and frameworks. The MEGC are not protected with the during transportation specified in paragraph H1 with the section of the pressure receptacle during the surface equipment must protect against the damage of the result of the lateral longitudinal impact with the overturning. External fittings must be protected against the relief of the pressure receptacle content upon the impact overturning the MEGC fittings, particular attention must be paid with the protection of the manifold, with example of protection included protecting against lateral impact with its main consist of the longitudinal bars, protecting against the overturning with its main consist of the reinforcement of the rings and bars fixed across the frame, protection against the rear impact with which may consist of the bumper and framework, protection of the pressure of the receptacles for the equipment against the impact of the overturning by the ISO frame in accordance with the relevant precision. ISO 14963. Initial inspection and testing the pressure receptacle of the items of the equipment, but the MEGC must be inspected for the testing before being put into service for the first time. Initial inspection of the test. The initial inspection of the test. MEGC must include the following. Alright, check design and characteristics. External examination of the MEGC fittings are taken into account with the hazardous material to be transported. Pressure test is performed in the test pressure specified in 173.304 BB12 with the subchapter of the pressure test. The manifold will perform the hydraulic testing by using liquefied gas leak-proofness to have the test of satisfactory operation of all the service equipment must be performed with the MEGC placed into service. Pressure receptacle for the fitting has been pressure tested separately, but the man must be subject to the leak-proofness test for some after that assembly. Alright, the MEGC makes the definition for the container of the CSE seen in Title 49.453A2 with the most subject to the impact testing or using prototype and representing each design type of the prototype. MEG must be shown that capable of absorbing the force resoluting the impact with not less than 4 times with the MEG MPGM fully loaded MEGE C. The general typical mechanical shop with with the rail transportation listing a simple method of performing impact test provided in the UN recommendations. Alright, marking. Each MEGC must be equipped with a corrosion resistant metal plate with permanently attached to the MEGC conjunction issues place reading and simple to the inspection pressure receptacles must be marked in accordance with the section. This section, fixing the metal plate with the pressure receptacle with prohibited minimum that the following information must be marked on the plate with it by stamping any of the other equivalent method, country, manufacturer, and then approval country, approval number, alternative arrangements, MEGC manufacturer name and mark, MEGC serial number, approval agency, authorized body with the design approval, the genome of the manufacturer, type of the pressure bar gauge, design temperature, range Celsius to Celsius, number of the pressure receptacle, total water capacity of liters, initial pressure testing, date and identification approval agency, date and type, more recent periodic testing, year, month, type, sample of the approval agency, perform witness must recent. The following information must be marked on the metal plate firmly with the security of the MEGC. Name of the operator, maximum permissible load on kilograms, work at a pressure of 15 degrees Celsius in bar gauge, maximum permissible gross mass on kilograms, unlighted tear and mass kilograms. And it shows Appendix E to Part 178. And then it shows the seamless bodies requiring one parent metal test, optional kinetics hand parent metal tests, and welded tests invented. It shows the marking symbolization, alternative locations, optional convex sample head, parent material sample 1 and 2, and 1, 3, and 5 welded tensile strength set 4 welded bend test. More of these seamless sided construction, two-piece construction. Parent material welded tensile truss welded bend test. Parent metal material test sample 1, 2, and then figure 5. Subpart D and G reserved. Subpart 8 specification portable tanks, and that will conclude tonight's reading.